makes you choose the characters that you do, and what is it about this film in particular that you wanted to kind of?
Well, I personally, as an actor, prefer any character that's going to throw up a challenge to me, something that I haven't done before. I like variety. Um, Back home in India, it's very easy to get typecast in a particular genre, filmmaking, and a character. And I've been lucky enough not to get typecast yet because I've always looked for work which is going to be different. I'd get terribly bored if I had to do the same kind of role day in, day out. When it comes to Raavan, I think it's a no-brainer. Forget the character. At the end of the day, it's a Mani Ratnam film, and like I said at the press conference, I consider him to be the best director that we have. And if Mani Ratnam comes knocking on your door, you say yes. It's just an added bonus that he always ends up giving me such memorable characters. And today, I've done close to 40 films, and whenever people speak about my work, the last two films I've done with Mani are always spoken about. And I don't think there's going to be anything different with Raavan. He's always given me a lot of work that's been challenging and has gone on to become very special and has proved to be a milestone in my career.
What do you feel about this film? What's the big challenge for you that you kind of had to overcome?
Well, I think Bira on face value is a very tough character. It's a complex film, very delicately complex film. And the challenge was to take a possibly what is perceived as the most complex character that we know of and simplify him and make him as easy to understand as possible. And that was the quest when Mani and I sat down to discuss the character and work him out. We both agreed on the fact that although on paper he's very complex, he has different shades, multiple characters go on in his head, and he's really out there. But how do you simplify him and make him as pure as possible so that although people would perceive him initially as a villain, by the end of the film, you fall in love with him because of the purity in his heart. So that was the challenge of the film for me.
That is a very thin line.
It is, yes.
So then, as an actor, then how do you kind of navigate the?
You don't. You just rely entirely on Mani Ratnam. But it is a thin line, but that's what makes it exciting, and I think that's what really keeps it very, very fluid. Also, the great thing, a great crutch actually was he's very unpredictable as a character. So pretty much anything that he does is go. You don't have to worry about it. So there's nothing wrong in terms of a characteristic. So whenever you're working with him to walk that line, you have a bit of elbow room. So that made it slightly easier.
To work with your wife, this is the third time, and so is there a very specific language that you guys have together?
Actually, it's our sixth film together.
Film.
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
But it's our second film since we've been married.
Okay, so then obviously at this point there must be a kind of rhythm that the
Yeah.
two of you guys
Yeah.
maybe stuff that other.
I think the most wonderful thing is how you switch from being a professional actor to a husband and wife. When you're in front of the camera, you have to leave behind your personal relationships and be true to your work and to your character. If you've seen the visuals, these two characters are clashing all the time, and they're diametrically opposite to each other, and they don't agree on anything, and there's a raw chemistry between the two of them, which attracts to a certain degree. What's wonderful is that I think we've worked out this equation that, when you're working, you're on set, you're working, that's my colleague, and the minute Mani would say cut, that's your wife. And it's always wonderful to do that work because you have somebody who you're comfortable with, and somebody, because I've done so much work with her, I understand as an actor. I don't like to harp too much about, working with my wife, because when I'm working with her, I work with her because I think she's a fantastic actor. And I enjoy the repartee we have in front of the camera. And I think I understand her. I can pretty much preempt what she's going to do next. And I'm pretty sure she does the same for me. So I think it makes for a wonderful team in front of camera.
Last question then. There seems to be a little bit of a renaissance in Indian cinema these days. Things are, I don't know, there's like feels like a change of the way movies are being made, the stories that are being told, and the kind of appreciation that maybe the audience now has.
Right.
It's a little more sophisticated
Right.
than maybe a couple.
Right.
So, as an actor within the industry, do you feel that, is that true?
No, not
or-
at all. I don't believe that at all. I think Indian cinema is very unique. We have a narrative which is completely different from anything else you see anywhere else. I think world cinema at large, you can draw a common thread, and so common thread between most of the kind of languages and cinemas that we have. I think Indian cinema just stands apart. And I think that's what's so attractive about it. It's a totally different world. We do sell escapism, and I don't think that's changed. I think what Indian makers have realized is that if we want to reach out to a global audience, and because Indian cinema is getting so much attention of late, it's not because we're making cinema which is acceptable to a global audience. It's because we're being who we are, and that's what people are liking. I don't think audiences the world over would want to come and see an English film in Hindi. They want to see a Hindi film for what it's worth. They've heard about the colors, they've heard about the celebrations, they've heard about the song and dance, and they want all of that, and that's what they're liking. And I think Indian makers and the Indian film fraternity has stuck to that, because we realize that this is what our calling card is, and this is what we are, and this is our identity, and that's the most important. And I like the fact that we haven't lost that identity. I think the world is just opening up to Indian cinema. I don't think the Indian cinema is opening up to the world.